Imagine a world where people have forgotten what it means to be true to each other and to God. In a land filled with chaos, Jeremiah is called by God with a message for the people, a call to return, to find peace, and to live with true love. But will they listen, or will they continue down a path of pain? With every step, Jeremiah faces anger, rejection, and heartache as he tries to save his people from a dark future. Watch as Jeremiah stands boldly against the world's pressure, delivering a message of hope and redemption from God Himself. This journey reveals the depths of human choices, the strength of faith, and the unwavering love of God for His people. One day, God spoke to Jeremiah with a message for His people. God's voice was both gentle and firm, filled with sadness but also love. "Tell my people that even though they have turned away from me, I am calling them back," He said. Jeremiah listened closely, feeling the weight of God's words. He could sense that God's heart was aching, like a parent who misses their child. Jeremiah knew this was an important message, and he was ready to share it. So, Jeremiah went to the center of the city where crowds gathered. He raised his voice and spoke with all his heart, "Return to God, our Father. He has not forgotten you, even though you have forgotten Him. He is waiting, with open arms, ready to forgive." People stopped to listen, some with curiosity, some with suspicion. Jeremiah's words were bold, yet filled with love. He could see some people's faces soften, as if they were remembering something long lost. But others laughed, saying, "Why should we go back? We are fine without Him." Jeremiah felt both hope and sorrow in that moment. As days passed, God continued to show Jeremiah the state of His people. They were like a beautiful land that had been ruined by storms and neglect. Once, they had been close to God, but now, they followed their own ways, forgetting who had given them everything. One evening, God spoke to Jeremiah again, His voice filled with sadness. "My people have wandered like sheep without a shepherd. They chase after things that cannot bring them life." Jeremiah's heart was heavy. He could see how lost his people had become, searching for happiness in things that only brought them pain. He went back to the city and cried out, "Why do we look for joy in empty places? God's love is the only true source of life. Turn back to Him, for He loves you deeply." Some people began to feel the weight of His words, their hearts stirring with memories of the peace they once had with God. But others shrugged, too caught up in their own desires. One night, Jeremiah felt a deep burden as he prayed. He saw a vision of Israel as a land with broken walls, once strong and beautiful, now crumbling and weak. He realized that God was showing him how their choices were destroying them, like a house without a foundation. God spoke, "Tell them that I am calling them back. If they return to me, I will rebuild their walls and restore their joy." Jeremiah stood up with renewed determination. The next morning, he went to the marketplace, where people gathered from all around. He spoke with urgency, "Our walls are breaking. Our hearts are empty. But God has promised to restore us if we come back to Him. He is not far away. He is right here, waiting for us." Some people were moved, their faces showing a glimmer of hope, while others remained distant, not ready to change. As Jeremiah continued his mission, he faced many challenges. Some people began to mock him, saying, "Why do you keep talking about God? We have our own ways. We don't need to change." Jeremiah felt the sting of their words, but he remembered that God had told him to be strong, like a solid rock that cannot be moved. With courage, he replied, "I speak because I care. God has shown me a future full of peace and joy if we return to Him, but it's up to us to choose it." His words lingered in the air, like seeds waiting to grow. One day, God showed Jeremiah another vision, one that filled him with both fear and hope. He saw a storm approaching, fierce and powerful, a sign of the consequences that would come if the people continued to ignore God's call. God's voice was firm but full of longing. "Tell them, if they turn back now, I will shelter them from the storm. But if they ignore my voice, the storm will break upon them." Jeremiah knew that God was giving them a chance to change, a chance to be saved. With a heavy heart, Jeremiah went back to the people and shared what he had seen. "A storm is coming," he warned, "a storm that we can avoid if we return to God. He offers a shelter, a place of safety, but we must choose to enter it." Some people looked afraid, others skeptical, but a few began to feel the truth in his words. They could sense the love behind his warning, like a parent trying to protect their child from harm. The days grew darker, and Jeremiah continued to feel the pain of his people's choices. He prayed constantly, asking God to touch their hearts. One evening, he heard God's voice again, gentle and comforting. "Even now I am waiting. I have loved them with an everlasting love, and I will welcome them back if they come to me." Jeremiah felt hope surge within him, a reminder that God's love was greater than any mistake. The next day, Jeremiah spoke with a new fire in his voice. God's love has not run out. Even if you have turned away, He is ready to forgive and restore you. Don't wait until it's too late. His arms are open, full of mercy and grace. People listened, some with tears in their eyes, as they felt the love in Jeremiah's words. For the first time, some of them began to believe that there was a way back, a chance for a new beginning. As the journey continued, Jeremiah saw both hope and resistance. But he did not give up. He knew that God's love was powerful, stronger than any obstacle. He kept sharing the message, knowing that even if only a few turned back, it would be worth it. Jeremiah's heart was filled with compassion, a deep love for his people, and a longing for them to find peace. Through all the challenges, Jeremiah's faith only grew stronger. He had seen visions, faced opposition, and felt the pain of rejection, but he had also seen the power of God's love and the promise of a better future. His journey was not easy, but he knew it was worth it, for he was following the call of God Himself. Prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for the strength and courage you gave to Jeremiah. Help us to remember your love and to turn back to you when we feel lost. May we find our peace and joy in your presence. Guide us with your gentle hand and let us be a light to others, sharing your love and truth. Amen.